Hello and welcome to the second episode under Blaine Keller of the Sumner County Sports Show. As I mentioned, I'm your host, Blaine Keller, Sumner County Sports Editor for the Hendersonville Standard, Gallatin News, and Portland Sun. It's a wonderful week for spring sports. If you've kind of been outside, you've seen the weather that we've had this week. It's been really great. Hoping the storms hold off tonight and hopefully throughout the rest of this week so we can catch as much spring sports as we can. It's almost hard to believe that there's a little bit more than a month left before all of it wraps up and we hit summer break, but we're trying to touch all of it while we can, and there's no better way to touch all of it than to talk some Sumner County football coaching news, coaching carousel news. Of course, we touched on it last week with Brent Alexander stepping down at station camp, and his replacement was named in between our two shows. We now talk with Chris Bain, the station camp football assistant head coach that has since been elevated. Coach, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for joining us today and joining us on the Sumner County Sports Show, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. First official week in your new role. Just to start off here, how have you kind of settled in so far? How have the players responded to hearing this news?
Hello.
Can you hear us, Coach?
I hear you now.
Yeah, just kind of touching on that first official week in your new role. How have the players responded to the news, and how have you kind of settled in so far?
All right, now can I hear you?
Can you hear me now, Coach?
I can hear you now.
First official week in your new role. How do you think it's gone?
Pretty good. It's to be honest with you, when Coach Alexander took over, he kind of pulled me to the side, told me I was going to be his assistant head coach, and work with him. So it's really been pretty easy start right now. A little crazy, a little hectic, kind of making some of the decisions that he had to make. But as far as overall, it's been a pretty easy, smooth transition.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you were that assistant head coach from 2020 on whenever Coach Alexander came in. What all did that entail for you? Do you feel like you took on any responsibilities that a head coach would that maybe eases this transition at all?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest. We kind of just did everything together. He just made the final, call on something. If there was a decision that had to be made, he would make it. But, as far as football stuff, I was pretty much in charge of all the field maintenance, getting the field ready for the game. Equipment, I was in charge of all that. Fundraising stuff, we kind of tag team that. And so, yeah, pretty much we did everything together. So we're really, honestly, wasn't that hard of a transition.
Was that something that you were used to? For those of you that haven't read, the readers that haven't read the story that we put out on our site, of course, you spent a long time at Hendersonville High School, and before that started in the mid-state at Portland. Were those things that you were familiar with, fundraising and stuff like that, as an assistant?
Yes, sir. When I was at Hendersonville, the majority of my years there was the head freshman coach. And Coach Hatfield was really good. He would say, "You're the head freshman coach. You're going to do everything that I do, just on a smaller level." And so I've had years of getting used to things, handling the money, talking to parents, getting the players ready for games. So it's really, plus, being under Coach Hatfield and Coach Perry, Coach Alexander on game nights, just the things that I pick up from them has made it easy on me as far as transitioning to this position. Now, if I didn't have the experience I had, it would be hard. So it would be hard for somebody first year, never been around it, just to jump right in, if that makes sense.
Of course, and spending as much time as you have in the Sumner County area, I'm sure you've seen a lot of great football, a lot of great teams. You've seen a lot in your time as an assistant head coach and your time as an assistant altogether. How do you feel like those experiences at Hendersonville and Portland in particular have prepared you for this job?
Like at Portland, I'll be the first one to tell you I got really lucky. into a very, very good situation. Walking into a state championship team, it was wasn't a whole lot for me to do on that staff, to be honest with you. But just the experience of going through 15 games, being there, soaking in everything I could soak in from Coach Perry and his staff, seeing things. Now, obviously, the majority of my career was, at Hendersonville under Coach Hatfield, and I was very fortunate there. We went to 3 state championships there, and been part of seeing the process. What to do. How do you set an itinerary? For a playoff game, for a long home travel trip. During the season, just getting your team prepared, keeping them on a schedule, making sure your schedule stays the same. Kids these days don't do well at all. It's change. You need the consistency. And from Hendersonville and Portland, the best thing and the best advice I can give to any young coach is be a sponge. Learn from those older guys that's been there and done that, and watch them and learn everything you can. Whether you use it or not, it's up to you. But the knowledge is there from the older guys if you'll just sit back and be a sponge and just soak it all in.
So let me see if I get this right. Across just those 2 trips with Hendersonville and your time at Portland, you've been to 4 state championship games as an assistant coach.
Yes, sir. So I've seen a lot.
Is there anyone on Station Camp's staff that has seen that many deep postseason runs, seen that many state championship games?
No, we do have one coach that played for Beach when they won the state championship in 2012. He was on that team. Other than that, I don't think we have anybody that has that deep playoff run experience. We do have a couple of assistant coaches. Our offensive coordinator played at Hendersonville. He was on a couple of the teams that made some deep playoff runs. So we have a few of us that have that experience. And kind of my goal every year that I've coached is I always want to make it to Thanksgiving. Make it to Thanksgiving. Number one, you've had a good year. Number 2, you're giving yourself a chance to play for a state championship the next week. And on the field, that's kind of my goal every year. It's never changed, never will.
Last week, we talked with Hendersonville baseball coach Justin Martin, and he mentioned the experience of getting to see players graduate on the field on the baseball side of things. And I guess the Thanksgiving aspect is something similar. They're having that holiday kind of in the middle of your season when you're that deep in the run. But, Coach, wanted to talk a little bit about your time with Brent Alexander. Whenever we talked last week, you mentioned the close relationship that you two had together. In what ways did your friendship with Coach Alexander go beyond football? Coach,
inside. You should, Alexander.
Yeah, just asking about your close relationship with Coach Alexander. In what ways did that go beyond football for you two?
Oh, man. I'll just be honest with you. The day we knew it was going to happen one day, the day it happened when he came in and told me, I think I was the first person he told outside of his family. We had a tear-jerking moment between the two of us, two grown men, 51 years old, and got a little emotional because we bonded more than just football. He would come over to my house. We'd have dinner together. We became really, really good friends. And that's the hardest part for him moving on for me. And that's what I told him. I was like, football wise, he has a walking book of football knowledge encyclopedia. For all of his years, he played in the NFL and everything. He's taught me some stuff. I was like, I thought I knew it all until he walked in, and he showed me some stuff. But our friendship that's the biggest thing I'm going to miss is every day, we work together every day closely. And like I said, outside of, it wasn't just here at the school building. We did stuff together outside of the school building, and I'm going to miss that, just that bond that me and him had. And I've already told him, I said, just have your phone ready because, I'm going to wear it out. So,
Coach, combing through the station camp coaching staff from last year, I noticed that there is another Bain, another assistant with the last name of Bain being Cameron. Is that your son?
that's my oldest son. He went to Hendersonville, and he really helps the freshman team. And then my youngest son is probably going to help us this year too. And that's something, I don't even know how to put words on it. Having my sons out there helping coach, watching them grow up, watching them play. My oldest one was a soccer guy. My youngest one was a football guy. But just having them both here every day, they work, and then they'll come into workouts, and it's just every day I get to see my two boys come in. And, you can't replace that.
Right. Yeah, it's a hard thing to even put to words, as you mentioned there. Kind of looking at your roster, though, from last year's team, you're returning some talent, some big-time players, I think. Sanders Ellis holds an Eastern Kentucky offer already heading into his senior season. Luke Dickens, a quarterback for you guys last year, had a lot of success. That's two of your three all-region players from last season. Have you had a chance to evaluate the roster that you're inheriting going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, we constantly, the coaches, we're constantly talking about kids and, what we think they need to work on to grow and develop on the field, off the field, in the classroom. I'm very fortunate as far as being my first year as a quote unquote the head coach. We got a lot of returning starters back, and that helps. Sanders, man, he's something different. I'm gonna tell you. I would be surprised if there's not some bigger offers coming soon for him. He's 6'2", 240 linebacker. He can. Last year, he made my job easy calling defense. Last year, I could just look at him, give him a check mark, and he could line us up and get us in the right stuff. On the field. Last year was Luke's full year. He was injured his sophomore year, so we had to put him at halfback halfway through the season when he came back. Last year was his first year to play quarterback. And most of the guys that we've played against are like, man, you got to stop number 8, on y'all's offense. And he's a dual threat, run pass guy. And we got several other seniors, like Robert Bogus. He was kind of banged up most of the year last year. He'll probably be our starting halfback. He's a pretty good ball player. Nick Sullivan and Jerron Riddle, and Garrett Relaford, they're all back on the offensive line. And I think number-wise, we have 8 guys coming back on defense overall that started at the end of the year. So I'm blessed my first year, to have a good group coming back to help me, in the transition.
Yeah, experience will help any team kind of improve itself from the year prior, but especially so when you all move your way down from competing for a 5A playoff spot to now competing in 4A. Of course, we've talked a lot about facing White House, facing Greenbrier, facing Pearl Cone and Marshall County in that Region 5 4A. But how do you feel like those returning players will factor into the success that Station Camp can have now down in 4A?
I mean, we've talked to the kid. We almost talk about it every day. Some of our team goes, and those guys know that we are counting on them to show the younger guys how we want things done. I think in my heart, I truly believe that returning the amount of kids we're returning will help us in 4A. A lot of that is, we've played some tough schedules the last 2 years. Playing Mount Juliet, Green Hills, Wilson Central, Gallatin, all those guys. And now hopefully that pays dividends, dropping to 4A, that we're not going to be intimidated by any big team, because everybody we've played the last 2 years has been pretty big. But just relying on them to help with the younger guys, make sure they, are doing practice how we want it, acting right in the classroom, making their grades, just working out the right way. Just being able to lean on them is going to be a big thing moving forward. And I do think I do think it helps us going to 4A, playing what we've been playing and having so many guys coming back that, we can at least compete a little bit better.
One more and we'll get you out of here, Coach Bain. Whenever we talked last week, you were just about to announce to your team that you were named the new head football coach at Station Camp. What was the reaction from your players that day?
Well, it was they wanted me to get the job. If Coach Alexander was leaving, they wanted me to take it over. They didn't want somebody to come in from the outside, and it was kind of funny. We had a good moment we was in the field house working out. We got done working out, and Coach Alexander kind of addressed the team and told them what was going on. And he said, "Now, if you got any more questions, you need to ask your new head coach, Coach Bain." And the kids just basically dogpiled me. And I'm too old for that. But they were jumping on me and jumping up, and I'm like, "Oh, y'all going to get off me? I'm about to die." I'm like, I'm not 30 anymore. But it was a very exciting moment for the kids and for me. It makes you feel young. When you get to my age and the kids are that excited, it made me feel good. It made my family feel good. The other coaches feel good. Mr. Crook, our principal, and Coach Duffer, the AD, I respect them, love them, and told them thank you 1,000 times already, for the chance. But yeah, when we told them last week, it was a pretty good moment. I can say that. I got dogpiled and could barely walk for the next day. So
it's one of those things you wish you could see, wish you could be there for. But Coach, congratulations on the new role. As we've said, we're looking forward to seeing your team compete this fall in 4A. And thank you so much for joining the Sumner County Sports Show today.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right. That was Station Camp new head football coach Chris Bain on the Sumner County Sports Show. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, stay tuned for some Sumner County sports storylines.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240-240. That's JOIN 240-240 to apply now.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour. It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try. There aren't any cops around. Didn't think there were any cops around. I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Cover your name, sir.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I thought I could hold my liquor.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
And we're back on the Sumner County Sports Show, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. I'm Blaine Keller, bringing you some Sumner County storylines to watch out for. We kick it off by looking at the district standings, first 2 series through softball, through baseball. As I mentioned at the jump of the show, it feels like it's more of a blur than ever this spring, going through trying to catch every team. And maybe that's just the new role for me, going from Robertson County to Sumner County. But it's been a lot of fun catching up with these teams, getting to see the talent that Sumner County has in spring sports. Beach High School is at the top of both softball and baseball. Baseball for Beach defeated Station Camp in both games. They swept them. Station Camp being a team that won 12 straight games to open the season and is now on a 4-game losing streak. On the other side of things, the Lady Buccaneers knocked off Station Camp, gave them a loss on Monday. Big win for Beach, because Station Camp's the team that's beaten Beach in back-to-back seasons for the district championship. That's huge if you want a home playoff spot in the region. If you want to continue to move on, give yourself a higher probability of winning some games and perhaps making it to the state tournament. Give you some football news. More Beach. We stick it with the Buccaneers. Riley Lovingood, long snapper who played at Beach during their great run, in the early 2010s, then had a full scholarship at Tennessee from 2015 to 2019, was a 5-year player with the Volunteers. He is now signed to the USFL by the Pittsburgh Maulers, going to play long snapper for them this season. We got a great story coming up on the Hendersonville Standard about that. I don't want to give away too much, but just know that Lovingood went about almost 4 years without playing football altogether, was a state representative for Senator Bill Haggerty, and is now playing professional football in Pittsburgh. He got to the team last week and now has the opportunity to be their opening day long snapper when the Maulers play Birmingham next week. Give you a little Portland action. The golfer Knox Mason, 9 years old, I believe, won the drive, chip, and putt national finals held at Augusta National Golf Course, yes, where the Masters are held. More impressive that he did it while dealing with an immunitive disease, PKU, a metabolic disorder that causes amino acid to build up in the body. All of his food must be weighted, must be measured. Talking with his dad today, just a huge win for them, for their family, for him. It was great to see that he got there in the first place. And, he got to meet a lot of cool golfers too. I believe he didn't meet his idol from what I've read from other outlets, but, just a great opportunity to meet some of the game's top athletes and really come away with the championship, which is more than I can say as a 9-year-old. I didn't win anything at 9 years old. Producer Justin, did you win anything at 9 years old?
I don't think I was entered into anything that could be at 9 years old.
I was not a sports guy at 9 years old. So huge congrats to Knox Mason and to his family. Huge win for the Portland community. Last Sumner County storyline to watch out for. Check out the All Sumner County wrestling team. 27 athletes on the boys' side, named from 6 different schools. Liberty Creek, being a first-year program, got some love as well. Huge thanks to Gallatin and their administration for compiling a list. As being someone who was not here for the wrestling season, it was great to get a little guidance and wisdom from coaches and from the administration of Gallatin to get an idea of who were some of the top wrestlers in the area in Sumner County this past season. So lots of great stuff to check out in the Portland Sun, Gallatin News, Hendersonville Standard. Everything that you just read here is in our papers this week, so be sure to check it out. Let's take one more commercial break here, and when we come back, I'm going to give you some closing thoughts. Sumner County Sports Show.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240-240. That's JOIN 240-240 to apply now.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour. It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try. There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Tell me your name, sir. Can you where you are right now?
Last break here on the Sumner County Sports Show, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to Chris Bain, new Station Camp football coach, for giving us some time this afternoon. Lots of great stuff. Like I said, really wish I could have been there for that dog pile to have seen what that looked like. But give you some closing thoughts here on our show today. Lots of love for Matt Massey, Station Camp Baseball. The pitcher threw a perfect game. I think the first perfect game I've heard of in high school baseball, at least in Tennessee, in the 2+ years that I've covered it. He picked that up a couple of weeks ago, 16-0. I think it was last week, actually. Forgive me for that. 16-0 win over Hunter's Lane. Like I said, the Bison were red hot and entering kind of this weekend. Won their first 12 games. Was really looking forward to their game against Clarksville on Friday. And if you want to blame it on me, that's fine. Because I ended up at that Station Camp Clarksville game, saw the Bison lose their first of the season, and since they've lost 3 more. So you got to think with the talent that this team has on roster that they're going to get things figured out. And especially if you have a guy who threw a no-hitter, you're going to be in for a good ride for the rest of the season. But one thing I've kind of picked up about this District 10 4A, at least on the baseball side, is that it is so loaded with talent. It is almost a shame that only 2 teams from this district can make it to the next round, make it to the region. When you have Beach, when you have Hendersonville, when you have Station Camp, Beach sweeping Station Camp, the team that won 12 straight, Hendersonville being the team that made it to the state tournament last year. There is a ton of talent out of Sumner County for baseball, and I'm really excited to see how it all shapes out. Looking at a game to watch out for next week, I think Station Camp and Gallatin soccer could be interesting, especially with Station Camp shaking off a slow start. But the Sumner County Track and Field Championships at Hendersonville High School is scheduled to happen, I believe, Monday and Thursday. I might be wrong on that first day, but I know I'll be there Thursday at Hendersonville High School to see those teams face off. Beach won the championship last year, and they'll be defending their title once again. That's all we've got today. The Sumner County Sports Show, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.